Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, the big man finally did it. As you all know, Aaron Judge finally reaching the 61st home run of the season, tying, of course, the Yankee legend Roger Maris. Again, we've all been kind of been waiting for it for a while. It take a little bit longer, but yes, we all figured it was going to happen, and it finally did happen up in Toronto. And a very good series for the Yankees, not only for the individual Judge, but of course, probably bigger picture. Congratulations to the New York Yankees, the American League East champions of the year 2022 AD. So now the Yankees kind of locked themselves in that number 2 seed there. Again, we all knew this was going to happen, but the Yankees kind of killed two birds with one stone during this Toronto series. And kind of, interesting, good to do it in Toronto. Of course, before the season started, everyone was kind of picking Toronto as the favorites in the AL East and just kind of looking at, Vladdy Guerrero and Springer and Biggio and Bichette. And like, oh my God, how's anyone going to contend with them? But ultimately, the Yankees able to dance, parade, and pour champagne on their field there. So kind of good to stick them to that way. So we'll get into the whole series. And, of course, my thoughts on the whole Judge hitting the 61st home run. But before we get there, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. So this is exclusive for you podcast subscribers. So if you want to get more content, again, we got a week left in the season, of course, and playoffs are going to be just around the corner before you know it. So make sure you get updated in all the little rants and raves and raps and all the cool little stuff that comes with being a podcast subscriber. So the Yankees are riding high on a 7-game win streak. Unfortunately, had 4 games against the Boston Red Sox where Judge wasn't able to get the 61st home run. Because, everyone was waiting, all the games were sold out, and you had, Judge's parents in the stands, and you had the whole Maris family, and they're in the Yankee suite, and it was like, all right, how long are they all going to follow him around? So, looks like, at least the mother took over the family duties of following Judge up in Toronto, and then Roger Maris Jr. actually packed his passport with him just in case he needed to go to Canada, and it turns out he did, but it was well worth his trip, so it took to the final game, but he was able to witness the home run. But in the first game itself, it was more about the Yankee pitching, and mainly because of Severino. Again, a successful first game back against the Pittsburgh Pirates. This time, I'll go going up against a little tougher offense. And for the most part, Severino was good on the outset of this. He would end up getting a no decision, a game the Yankees would end up losing. But the Yankees got on the board early in the first game. So Torres in the first inning, and Torres been, his bat really been coming alive in September with a sacrifice fly, put the Yankees up 1-0. And then in the second, kind of Fleffer, not really known for his power, able to hit one over the left field wall there, his 4th of the year, put the Yankees up 2-0. And again, Severino's cruising pretty well along in the game, actually didn't allow a hit until the 4th inning to Bo Bichette. But unfortunately, this would lead to a bit of a rally there for the Blue Jays. And with 2 runners on, Toesco Hernandez would hit a 2-run double, tying the game at that point. And Severino was done after 4 innings. Again, they're kind of working his pitch count up there, just kind of building his arm straight. So really wasn't able to go deep in this game, not as deep as he was in the Pittsburgh game. But nevertheless, a kind of ho-hum start there. Just 4 innings, 76 pitches. Did strike out 4, but again, a little wild there with 3 walks. And again, gave up that 2-run double to Hernandez. So he left with the game tied. And this game would actually end up going into the 10th inning, where the Yankees had a bit of an interesting situation with Clark Schmidt on. Now, Craig Biggio was the ghost runner at second, with Vladdy Guerrero Jr. up at the plate. Now, of course, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., again, a dangerous hitter. You figure possibly you may want to walk him and maybe face Alejandro Kirk right behind him, who's a lefty hitter. And again, he's obviously not as dangerous as Vladdy Guerrero Jr., but of course, he's no walk in the park either. So they decide actually to go after Guerrero, and Guerrero able to smoke a hit right up the middle there. And Biggio comes around to score for the game-winning walk-off hit there for Toronto. So at that point, ended the Yankees' 7-game win streak. And of course, in the game, still Judge homerless. And it was just, have to wait just yet another day, which then brings us to game 2. And really the star, and actually at the end of the day, the star of the show of the game, of the second game would be Jameson Taillon. Now, it didn't seem like it would work out that way. In the bottom of the first inning, Taillon giving up a leadoff home run to George Springer, who just killed the Yankees the entire season, putting the Yankees in an early 1-0 hole. But the Yankee offense would get it going. And then from there, Taillon would have, I don't know if his best start of the season, but he definitely went deep into this one and kind of shut down a pretty good offense in their own ballpark. But the Yankees got some runs on the board for him in the third, thanks to RBI singles by both Rizzo and Torres. And just good to see not only this Torres hitting well in September, but Rizzo since coming back just from that, the effects from the epidural and having the headaches there. And again, having those 2 bats behind Judge, again, really crucial because right now still Stanton still struggling to find himself and really almost had 0 impact in the series altogether. But nevertheless, Rizzo and Torres in the third inning, a couple of RBI singles, gave the Yankees a 2-1 lead at that point. And then from there, the Yankees pretty much would cruise along. And then in the sixth inning, already up 3-1, Aaron Hicks with a double, bringing Higgy, at that point extending the Yankee lead to 4-1. And, don't look just yet, but actually Aaron Hicks, since Bader has come up, Hicks has gotten some playing time as well in left field, just with, I guess, Carpenter's not back yet. And of course, with Benintendi gone. And, during this Toronto series, actually, Boone decided to DH Judge just so he has to play on that hard turf. So actually opened up some opportunities for Hicks there. And he's actually, slowly but steadily, he's actually been hitting pretty well lately. Again, I don't know if that puts him ahead of Bader on the pecking order or something like that, but good to see Hicks, coming alive a little bit with the bat there. And he did it during this Toronto series. But again, the story was Jameson Taillon. Now, Toronto would pull it within 5-2 in the bottom of the sixth inning, but that's as far as they would get. And again, Taillon pitching into the eighth inning, goes 7 1/3 inning with 6 strikeouts, no walks, which is important. And he was able to pick up his 14th win of the season to improve his record to 14-5. Now, in the ninth inning, it was a safe situation. Now, the game before, both Holmes and Loizaga pitched, so I guess Boone wanted to give them a night off, so actually went with Lou Trevino, who, he served during that Boston series, got out of a couple of big jams, a bases loaded jam as well in the Sunday game there. So I guess, getting more confident in Boone's eyes. I guess Boone more confident in using him in some tight spots. Went to him to close out the game, and he was able to do so. He comes up to save, and the Yankees, with the win, were able to finally clinch the AL East. Again, it was one of those situations where you needed a Yankee win or a Toronto loss. Well, the Yankees did both and won the game and was able to beat Toronto. So the second game, they were able to clinch the AL East. And, and interesting with Trevino closing the game, actually Boone made comments later on that basically it's going to be almost all hands on deck, or right now it's an open competition. So he's not really anointing Holmes as the automatic ninth man for the playoffs right now. So someone could jump up and perhaps take that job. So maybe it could be Loizaga, maybe it could be Trevino, or maybe it stays with Holmes, or maybe possibly Chapman. Again, there's about 7 games left, so someone kind of, Boone kind of put it out there that it's pretty much an open job. So whoever wants to grab it. So kind of interesting there. I don't think it'll be someone like Chapman, but again, it's just quite interesting that Boone's put it out there that it's all hands on deck when it comes to the playoff time. So that would bring the rubber match game 3. Now, at this point, it says whether Judge is going to hit this home run or not. I mean, the Yankees at that point had the AL East all wrapped up. And for the finale there, it was Garrett Cole versus Mitch White. And the Yankees were able to jump on White right away in the first inning. Would have put a 3 spot on the board, including Peraza's first RBI hit. It was a single that brought in Cabrera. So, good for him to kind of get that off the schneid. And actually, Cole was in control for the most part, but, finally they did get to him in the 6th inning. Catch it Danny Jansen with solo home run. Pull the score within 3-1. And then in the same inning, thanks to an infield single by Bichette, as well as a Guerrero sac fly, would tie the score now at 3-3. And again, another start by Cole where you're kind of like, he gives up a home run. Okay, there's only one, but still not really a dominating performance. But nevertheless, he would ultimately end up getting the win in the game because the man of the hour, the man of the season, Aaron Judge up in the top of the 7th inning. Again, at this point, Cole was still the pitcher of record. Hicks was able to work a walk. Again, Hicks, seeing the ball better, hitting a little bit. So again, just good to see Hicks coming around a little bit. Maybe this last week maybe surprises us all. Who knows? But nevertheless, with Hicks on, Aaron Judge against lefty Tim Meiser, works the count there and is able to take a 94-mile-per-hour sinker, pull it to left field, late, kind of a low laser. I don't say it was a low laser shot, but it wasn't like a rainbow shot home run, kind of a line drive type of home run to left field. And finally, Judge off the schneid there, hitting his 61st home run of the season. Again, what we've been waiting for the entire season. And it was a situation where, there was a Toronto fan kind of leaning over this. The ball actually bounced off the wall and ended up going down into the Toronto bullpen. And of course, they were able to retrieve the ball easily. There was a Toronto fan who maybe had a shot at it, but I think people are giving him grief for no reason. I mean, look, you're just some fan in the stands. I mean, it wasn't like, an easy play to make. You'd have to bend down there, and who knows, you can even fall over if you lose your balance a little bit. Now, would the ball be worth $1 million? I don't know. But it's like, it wasn't like an easy catch that the fan blew. I meant, look, was there a play to be made? Yes. But it wasn't an easy play, a no-brainer play, especially if someone who's like a non-athlete, person just sitting in the stands there, and all of a sudden this screaming line drive comes at you like 100 plus miles per hour, and you're supposed to catch it like it's candy. So I think people get on that fan a little too much. But nevertheless, more importantly, Aaron Judge finally getting the 61st home run of the season, and it was actually a good moment. Roger Maris Jr. and Judge's mother sitting together in the stands together, there next to each other. And actually, I think it was actually a pretty cool moment. So now, if you remember the games at Yankee Stadium, the Maris family and the Judge family weren't really near each other. So I think just to have the isolated moment of just Judge's mom and Roger Maris, the son of Roger Maris, just the two of them together. There were a couple other fans. I don't know if they were related or they're friends of family, whatever, kind of near them a little bit, but they're almost like isolated. Like they was a seat apart from everybody else, and just for the two of them to be together, that could never happen at Yankee Stadium, because you would have all the Maris people in one suite and have like Judge's entourage in the stands there, and it's like. But just to have those two isolated, it's almost in a way it's good it happened on the road, because that's the only way it could happen. That could not happen at Yankee Stadium, because Yankee Stadium would just be packed with pandemonium and all these people. But just for the two of them to be there, actually, I think it actually makes the home run a little bit special, because there's nowhere. That's the only way it could happen. It was on the road, so that couldn't happen at Yankee Stadium. So I'm sure we all like to see that happen at Yankee Stadium, but the fact that it happened on the road for those two to be together like that, I think this makes it a special moment. And there's all the weird things, of course. Roger Maris was number 9, Judge is 99, so you have all those omens, and of course, obviously, baseball being very superstitious, it's just kind of weird to point that out. But in the game, the Yankees would tack on a few runs there and ultimately win it by the final score of 8-3. And Cole, again, since he was the pitcher of record, was able to pick up his 13th win of the season, and a little history for Cole himself. I know I've been beating up on him lately, but he did surpass his 2021 record, so he has the most strikeouts of a Yankee pitcher in Yankee history. So, again, it hasn't been the ideal year for Cole, but now it was a record-breaking night for Aaron Judge. Again, he ties the American League record for most home runs in the season. But, of course, now Cole, with the Yankee record, the most strikeouts for a Yankee pitcher, him. So, and then, of course, the Yankees able to take the series from Toronto 2-1. And for Judge, he did it on the 155th game of the season. So I think overall he's maybe 1 or 2 games ahead of the Roger Maris pace. So let's see. Very well should again end up with 62, but maybe ends up with 63, 64. Now from here, the Yankees go back home to host the Baltimore Orioles. Domingo Germán will kick off that one. So it's 3 games at home, and then the Yankees hit the road. Again, there's no more off days. So this is 7 games in a row, and then the Yankees get the rest up a little bit during that first round of the wild card round during the playoffs. And then 4 games at Texas, with the Tuesday game being a doubleheader. So you're going to get 4 games within 3 days there. And, of course, at that point, I think you'll see a lot of the starters getting plenty of rest. Now, for the Yankees, getting a little good news on the Friday. They should see the return of DJ LeMahieu, again, kind of deal with that toe injury. But you're hearing all sorts of mixed stories where he's not really fully healthy now. And, again, it could be like last season. Remember last season he had the sore hip and dealing with the hernia, and he wasn't available for that final 1-game playoff game at Fenway. Seems like even though DJ's coming back, he's kind of going to be a bit of a shell of himself. So who knows how that's going to work out. And again, with Torres hitting the way Torres hitting lately, you would figure Torres locks down that second base job, and it's going to be a decision between Josh Donaldson and DJ for third base. And again, right now, health-wise and with everything to be considered, it might seem that Donaldson actually might beat out DJ for that. But let's see what the condition DJ comes back when he's here. But Toronto shouldn't be all that sad. With a loss to the Orioles afterwards, Toronto is actually able to officially clinch a playoff berth. So they'll be involved in the mix. And again, maybe down the road, the Yankees will face them again. That remains to be seen. But at least Toronto, they do qualify for the playoffs. So that kind of puts a damper on Baltimore's. They had a bit of an outside chance, but didn't seem like they were going to get in, even though they did have a great second half of the season. And for them, at least that organization should be proud. Again, after a lot of 100-loss seasons and this miserable seasons lately, at least, Baltimore at least put a good season for themselves, and let's see how they are next year. So everything, the big cahoots out of the way, Judge got the monkey off his back, hitting number 61, how to bother him. But I think the good news with that is that you saw that all these games, he pretty much didn't go outside the strike zone. He had a ton of 3-2 counts, got a bunch of walks. So it wasn't like he was just swinging out of the zone or swinging wild. He kind of stayed within his game. Figured at some point what happened. Now, the Boston pitchers, he did. I'm not going to say, he did get some pitches to hit by them. They weren't exactly, very gracious about him, and they were pitching him tight as well. But But I guess, no pitcher wants to be one that gives it about, but especially if you're a Boston pitcher, I guess, they pitch him tough. So you figure it didn't seem like they were going to kind of try to spoil it, especially him being at home and, letting him celebrate in front of the fans. I guess that's Boston's little victory for the season, even though, that's all they could cling on to because they're kind of a last place team this year in the AL East. So you figure it's going to take a little longer. All right, fine. You got to get to Toronto. And now maybe he could surpass, get the 62 at home during this Baltimore series there. So, and I think Boone, made the right call DHing him. So, giving him his at-bats in Toronto, but DHing him just to give him a little break a little bit, just give him a little rest. And, of course, Thursday being an off day after that Toronto series, that should help as well. So, Section 420 Talkin Yankees, 61 happened. Great. Let's just wait for 62. And, again, hopefully the Yankees just get geared up for the playoffs, get things in motion. The jury's still out a little bit about Carpenter. Benintendi said he's healing a little bit, but I'm just right at this point. You can't depend on Carpenter and Benintendi because I don't think they're going to be in the mix. It's still too soon for them to come back, so they're probably out of the fold there. But the good news is that Harrison Beta come here. He seemed like the real deal. Has a lot of energy, good on the bases, good in the field. Been decent with the bat, getting poking some singles there through the hole. So again, if we can't get Carpenter and Benintendi, at least Beta's in the mix. And again, we've seen Aaron Hicks being just a little bit better. I'm not going to say he's good, he's great, put him on the postseason roster, but at least he's finally making a case for himself. So we'll catch you on the next one, and hopefully by the time we're talking next time, Judge will have number 62, or even better yet, 63. Catch you later.